Hey, good Sam, this is Pastor Jed. Hey, the last time we were together, I reminded you that God has given me 18,997 days. I've had 2 more days since we've been together, and one of those days was a big day. It was my birthday. I turned 52 years old. I've been learning to count my days. I've been learning to consider the day that God has given me and to plan it out wisely. Because the older I get, the more quickly time passes by. I can't believe that I'm 52 years old. My wife can't believe I'm 52 years old. I should be more mature than I am by now. As we get older, we recognize that time speeds by. And so Moses teaches us a beautiful prayer. In Psalm 90, he tells us, "Teach us to number our days, O Lord, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." And at Good Sam, that's exactly what we're into. We're asking God to teach us to number our days so that we don't waste our time, so that we don't waste our life. This week, we were reminded of why we were created and the purpose that God has given us. Purpose is one of those huge questions that we wrestle with. We tackle it. We try to get a grasp on it because living a life without purpose, it's really challenging. And we want to make the most of the time that God has given us. We looked at Ephesians. Ephesians, it's the Grand Canyon of the Bible. Ephesians chapter 2, it's the fireworks that Paul sends up. It's beautiful because in this beautiful passage, in these 10 verses in chapter 2, we recognize that we have a problem and sin is our problem. That in sin, we cannot have a relationship with God. Sin separates us. But deeper into the passage, we recognize that God gives us this gift, that it is a free gift. All we need to do is to open our hands and receive it. This gift is Jesus. And Paul goes on to tell us that this gift is given because of God's grace. As Paul is winding up on verse 10, he reminds us that we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do the good works that he has planned in advance for us to do. On Sunday, we were reminded that workmanship, it actually means that we are God's poetry, we are God's rhythm, we are God's rhyme, we are God's perfection. Some of us, we might be thinking that can't be right because we know who we are and we know what we've done. We know where we fall short. But God is in the process of perfecting us. We are God's workmanship. We're created to do good things. We're created to love, we're created to encourage, we're created to serve, we're created to be Jesus' hands and feet. And so this week, I just want to ask you to consider, what does it mean that you are God's workmanship, that you are God's handiwork, that God has created you so that you can partner with God in ushering God's kingdom. This Sunday, we're going to be gathering together and we're going to be looking at time with the backdrop of all eternity. I can't wait to see you then. Blessings.